So, got the knuckle off. Going to press out the hub bearing. In case you didn't know, and of course, for some reason, I think I've told you since I've owned this thing, I have never had to change out the wheel bearings on it. And the odd thing is, when I had the 17-inch wheels on here, I had the spacers on there, and it never caused an issue. So here's what I suspect happened. Those piece of junk Bassett unbalanced wheels on my test drives, when I took them out, like I told you, it was horrendous. And I mean, yeah, admittedly, there was a time where when I knew they were bad. I was driving it. I was trying to get the boost. I was trying to get the boost where I wanted it to be and so forth. I'm watching my fuel gauge, my air fuel ratio, watching my boost, watching my air fuel ratio, wanting to make sure, Squire said that the air fuel ratio kicks up a point, so if you have a true 10.5 air fuel ratio under boost, then it's probably going to show 9 something on the gauge. So in other words, if you're showing 10.5 on the gauge, you're really running 11.5 air fuel ratio. So I'm watching for that and stuff like that, but just trying to get the boost right. What does that have to do with the wheel bearing? Well, I probably drove it with those crappy Bassett unbalanced wheels longer than I should have, and I think that did it in. So, but anyway, just got it off here. Just keep in mind, the reason I bring up the fact I've never had to do them, I know I haven't, because if I did, I would have had this in my toolbox. The axle nut for this thing is a 29 millimeter. And so I had to do a quick run down to O'Reilly's to get it so I could do this thing. 18 bucks. But I need it in there. Everything else in here, of course, the tie rod could be a little tighter. It's not too bad. The ball joint you see down here, the bushing's all busted, but just like my customers that come into the shop, just because the ball joint's the boot's busted doesn't mean the joint's bad, and this one is not. This one is not. It's very hard to move. So, yeah. Brake pad's good. Just do a visual check under here. I marked the spindle where my struts were at so I could get it as close as possible when I put it back in. I did notice, it's kind of fortuitous that I did have to do this, because if you look here, I don't know if you can see it, you probably can't. Let me get my flashlight here. See that band right there? Right there on the CV axle? That's rubbing this. So it's good that we checked that out, or had to get up underneath here, because now I need to adjust the height of this. I guess it's after I lowered it down with these wheels with the lower diameter. Like I said, I put that kit on there with the 17-inch wheels on there, so this thing was higher. So now that I've lowered the suspension some, this axle has rode up, or has just caused it to come up, and is contacting it. I looked under here; it's not damaged; it's just rubbed on. I just got to fix that. I'll be able to do that. Outside of that, I want to show you. I mean, I thought I had some play when I could spin the wheel on here. I could hear it crackling and stuff. But watch this. Listen to this thing. Listen to that. That's a bad wheel bearing, my friend. Very bad. Very noisy. Terrible. But anyway, good call on this one. I'll knock out the next one after this. What's going to suck is if I get all this back together and it happens all again because of the offset on these wheels. What if by running the 17-inch wheels I never had a problem with the little 1.5-inch spacer, but now that I've got the spacer and these wheels that bring far out, and there is some mention in some of the forums and stuff. Some people are 100% say that's bull crap. It don't cause premature bearing failure. Some people do. Good. The people that do say that have had wheel bearing problems, albeit not so bad that they could hear it that well. But now that they have these wheels on there, it just exasperated and caused their premature failure of an already bad bearing. It's possible. So, but anyway, This kit here, it's a GMB assembly. It's a German manufacturing company that does that. It comes, this part number, I think it's a 18861. It's a kit. It's got the hole, it's got the hub, the bearing, a new nut, this snap ring, which I'll talk about here in a second. And I went ahead and bought another spacer, or I guess you'd say a washer, to replace the old washer. This is the old nut. I don't know if it's a big deal to use the old nut or not. It's not like it's a lock nut that I can tell. But came in the kit. It's new. I'll keep that one just in case. I'll probably keep this spacer also for some other, or washer for some other use. But this is the bearing. I have the press at work, so I'll knock that out there. Of course, comes with some instructions, which nobody ever reads those, do they? Outside of that, we'll get this thing thrown on there and see what happens. So this is the old snap ring, this one, and of course this is the new one. I don't like these type because sometimes they're a biatch to get out because of the way that they just have the notch here. I've struggled with those in the past. The only reason I think people don't like these type is because they don't have the proper tool for it. I happen to have a large snap ring plier that I can use. So I'm just going to retain and reuse this one. This one here I'll keep for just for grins, but I'm not going to replace it. There's nothing wrong with the old snap ring, using it, no big deal. And while we're at it, the radio is out. It's on its way to Ching Chang Chong to put the motherboard in there. So we'll get that back and proceed. Quiet. That's a wheel bearing. How about that? Well, the noise is fixed. Thank goodness. So no vibration, no noise. I'll be able to get out here and really get after it and start tuning the fuel and the boost and know where I need to stop with these injectors, how much boost they can take. The engine's built, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, and then after that, the unit chip. Thank goodness. Well, I was going to try to make IFO Baytown this year. I was just going to get it on the track, see what it could do, but the whole roaring vibration thing stopped, but now it's good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and come down. I'm kind of torn. I'm only running 11 pounds of boost because for the size injectors that are on here, it's maxing it out. It's maxing the injectors out, which the whole point of the unit chip, as I've said before, is to run big injectors, run big boosts and stuff like that. So I'm limited right now just because the injectors, and the reason I'm limited on the injectors is because on startup it runs, if you run too large of an injector, it'll start, but it's super pig rich, and there's really no point in doing that if I'm doing the unit chip. So the fuel pump can handle it, the engine can handle it, so that's all I'm lacking. So I'm gonna head up to IFO tomorrow with my son. We both enjoy that time and enjoy it, come back, hit it, and knock it out for the next IFO, either in Ennis, which is near Dallas, or the next Baytown one. I'm not sure when, but I ought to have my side skirts on. I ought to have the unit chip in, the bigger power, and all good stuff. One quick note, this turbo that's on here, I remember now, I think I got it as part of a sponsorship. I mean, it's a long time ago. And when they got it to me, he said that I think I remember him saying that he had clipped the turbine wheel. And I remember in a video, and if I got it, I'll put it right here to show you. I think I did see that turbine wheel clipped, which would take the onset of boost further up in the RPM range. This could stand to have it come down just a little bit. But so if that's the case, it may be just a matter of getting a wheel from Garrett or something like that, or I don't want to go a smaller turbo, but I think if I can just get that wheel replaced, the boost will come on a little bit sooner, and that'd be great. Right now, it's manageable, it's good. Once I hit the big boost and all, it'll take off out of here. But for the lower, like first, second gear, it's funny. Before I had too much with a smaller turbo, and now it's not that I have too big, but I would like to come on just a little bit earlier. And I think putting that non-clipped turbine wheel in there will help. So hopefully next update I'll have some really juicy stuff. All right.